Fantastic. Alex, thanks for that. What I'm sharing at the minute is I'd like to give you a demonstration. At the minute, you can see I've got two screens here. On the right-hand side, I'll use my Onsight Connect as the expert user. I'm going to make a call to Larry David, who's wearing the glasses that, or the Navigator 500 that Alex was showing you before. So if I click the button on my side of my Navigator 500, you can see that I've woken it up, and that's what my home screen looks like. What I'm going to do is start my Onsight application. So I'll use my voice and say Onsight. And you can see already that I'm getting a live video feed from my glasses and that the contacts has come across. And just in the background there, you can see that I've got a carburetor here, and I need some help from Andrew. So as Larry David wearing the glasses, I have been given a task that I need to service this carburetor, and I need to find the power valve. So I need to make a call. So let me call Andrew, and I will do that by saying, call Andrew Taylor. On the right-hand side, you'll see that call coming in. So when it connects, there's no video. So the glasses wearer just needs to quickly turn that on, and they can say something like, start streaming. And you can see now on the right-hand side, I've got streaming coming in, and that's Andrew Taylor, who's the expert. I know it's a little bit difficult. I am trying to pretend I'm playing two different actors. We thought it was really important that you get to see the vision and operation from both the point of view of the person wearing the Navigator 500 on the left and the person being the remote expert who is going to assist Larry to identify the power valve cover. Now, you may have noticed that when we first joined our call, it was a little bit grainy. The power of the Onsight platform is that it allows us to set policies based on our bandwidth. Because I know I've got great bandwidth here, you'll see that over here, I'm going to select a little menu. As the expert, I'm able to go and change my bandwidth. I'll change it up to a custom configuration that I've written, which is a 720 by 30 frames a second. When I select that, you'll notice that my image becomes much, much clearer. You'll also see in the background that I've got my new thermal camera on my device here as well, but it's a great little piece of kit. I've upgraded my Navigator. So basically, Larry needs to contact Andrew and say, hi, Andrew, I need to look at this carburetor and I need to service the power valve cover. Can you help me identify it? And Andrew on the right-hand side will say, that's great, Larry, no problems. Let me take a picture of it because I'm not exactly sure what part of that object is the power valve cover. So on the right-hand side, Andrew can actually click just a little button here and send a remote message to the Navigator to take a photo. And when I do this, you'll see here that I've got the share and don't share. At the minute, I'm going to ask Larry just to be patient as I have a look at that picture. So if I don't share, what I'm going to do is come along here and have a look at the picture that I just took. So again, this is Andrew having a look at the picture that I just took from Larry. Now I can see that there. Larry's patiently waiting in the background, as you can see. What I'm able to do, as we've built up a model of this carburetor, I can send this picture up to the cloud for it to be scanned, and I will essentially click on this single button. And what that does, when I click on this single button here, it sends the picture up and compares it to the models that I have already set up in our domain. And you can see that it's come back and it's making some identifications. Specifically, you can see the power valve cover here at 99.76, which is huge. Now, this model of the carburetor doesn't get in there by accident. It is programmatically put in there with lots and lots of different photos. That definitely is a precursor. I click on the OK button up here, and you can see it's smart enough that it actually comes and actually highlights the items on the screen and says to me that's the automatic choke, pump cover, and those sorts of things. So what I want to do is I've identified the power valve cover, but better yet, if I give you these two screens, and I know it's a little bit smaller now, but what I wanted to show you this happening live, so this isn't pre-recorded. If I click on the power valve cover on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see on the right-hand side of your screen, We'll also link off to a custom link. So what this does is you'll see I've got my manual stored at a URL. It actually will open up the page and show me all of the information that I need to know about that power valve cover. For instance, clicking on the overview will actually bring up this document, and it will, just 1 second, load it, and it will tell me that it's a Motorcraft 2150 power valve. I can scan down and actually see the different components. I can actually make sure that I understand everything. So what this is doing is this has helped me as Andrew confidently identify the part that I need to advise Larry on. So if we scoot back to the screen that we've got here, I'm happy with that now. So what I will do is I'll close the picture down. I'll come back to Larry. Closing this down. And we've got Larry's picture here. Let me just close that down. What I can do now is very quickly say to Larry, okay, Larry, I've identified the part. Let me just quickly pause the live video that's actually happening. So I've paused the live video coming in. I'm then going to grab my annotation. So here's my telestration, I should say. I've got a range of telestration tools that I can use here and colors. What I will say to Larry is, Larry, I'm going to use 4 red arrows and highlight on the device what you need to do. Now, what I'd like you to focus on is, as I draw these arrows on the right-hand side, having a look on the left-hand side, you'll see that the arrows are appearing in the display on Larry's Navigator 500. I'd be talking to him saying, Larry, are you able to see that those 4 arrows that I've drawn there? And better yet, what I will do is I will grab basically a circle, or end up being something, an ellipse or something, and I'll draw around what the power valve is. So Larry can correctly identify the part that he needs. I'm able to then go back to a live video, and you'll see that the annotation stays there. I can come into my annotation and undo it all and erase it all. And we're basically back to here, and Larry can say, thank you for identifying it. That's the piece of kit that I need to swap out. So that was a really quick demonstration of how we were using object identification. We're making a call. We're helping the glasses wearer identify a part on a technical piece of equipment, and using our assisted reality annotation to draw that up. What I'd like to show you, just let me hang this call up now. What I'd like to show you is what that information looks like when we scoot across to the workspace. So over here, what I need to do, my apologies, just 1 second, I've got it stored elsewhere. Where am I going? So over here, I grab my pictures that I took. I've got my workspace button, and I know this is a little bit small. I click on the green here, and you'll see on the right-hand side that it's loading my workspace. So the workspace is an additional part of the platform where all of that call is stored, including the photos that we just took, the audio, and all of those bits and pieces. So now that we're in the workspace, I'll just very quickly take you through where that all lived. And I've got access to it, so I can see all of the calls. But if I quickly click on Browse over here, I'm able to browse to the calls that I made. And that was the ID that I just logged in as. And you'll see it'll bring up a list of all the calls I've made. And here is the call that we were just on. And when I click into that call, you'll see I have the details. And when that, even to the level of the device name and things like that, I've got the summary. You can see the time, so it's all live. And you can also see, for instance, there was the photo that I took. And that was that one photo with all of the AI also on it, which I can turn on and off by basically enabling or disabling the object identification. You can also see over here, it's importing some metadata. All of this information becomes searchable, which allows me to look for instance, all of the times that I've taken a picture of a carburetor for 2150, my apologies. So I could very quickly identify how many times that this piece of equipment had been sort of spoken about or a call had been made. If I go back one screen, we won't dive too much into it. In the back, we also recorded this. We have a policy set up that we want to record our calls as well. And actually, you'll see here a fantastic ability that I've both got the audio and the transcription. So in that short amount of a 6-minute, 31-second call, I've got the audio, but it's also transcribed all that into text. And the reason this is important is because I may have mentioned words such as the equipment. All of this text is now searchable. So in terms of linking back to what Alex was saying about the product being about knowledge management, I now have both photos, I have voice to text, all of it becomes searchable and indexed so that I'm able to come in using the search bar over here and search for instances where, say, for instance, a Ford 2150 carburetor was spoken about or something like that. And I can find all of those instances of that call happening. So that's a little bit about the back end of the Librestream Onsight Connect platform and where all of the call data ends up in a rich, I suppose, a rich melting pot of information that a company can leverage for future calls. Alex, I think that's enough that we'll go into just to remind everyone about what the power is of putting together the Navigator 500 with a platform such as RealWare. I'll pass it back to you if that's okay, my friend.